What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Be Nice to Everyone. They might own the place. Here's the cast. There's me, new receptionist. Backstory. I own a portfolio of 5 different businesses that have little in common with each other. They are all service-based, and 3 of them are public-facing and in different areas of the state in which I live. Given that the businesses all operate under separate names, provide separate services, and are located in separate offices, buildings, etc., I tend to allow the managers for each location hire clerical staff without me meeting them first. This largely works out to everyone's benefit, as I don't have to drive several hours to approve a new receptionist, and it doesn't take time away from my staff or the new hire. One of my businesses happens to be involved with medical testing and is the farthest from my home at about 3 hours away, so I only make trips out there if I have to. Shortly before Brovid hit, I only drove out the medical testing office to pick up some papers and to meet the new receptionist that had been hired a few days prior. I asked the manager in charge of that office to send me the new hire's name and some background info so I can introduce myself without not knowing anything about them. I pulled up to the office around 5:45 p.m. and walked up to the check-in counter where the new receptionist was sitting. Before I could say anything, let alone introduce myself, new receptionist says, "We're about to close, so you need to come back later." I thought new receptionist was joking, and I kinda chuckled and waited for new receptionist to laugh too. New receptionist said, "Are you a crackhead or something? I said we're closed." While I try to keep in mind that I don't know what is going on in someone's life to cause them to be in a bad mood, I also don't want new receptionist or any of my staff to speak to anyone in that manner. This is the conversation between new receptionist and I that followed. "Do you speak to customers that way?" "Yeah, when you people come in late like you own the place." "I do." "You do what?" "I own this place." I show her the badge that states I'm the owner. "I'd like to see you in my office now." New receptionist's eyes got very wide as she watched me swipe my badge, thus unlocking the door that leads from the lobby to the staff area. I passed the manager's office and told her to follow me to my office, which she did. The manager, new receptionist, and I sat down in my office, and I explained the situation to the manager. I then explained to new receptionist that our office gets people from all walks of life and in all types of situations, and that I don't tolerate any of my staff speaking to people in such a manner when they are representing my business. I asked the manager to draft termination papers while I had a final check made out to new receptionist. When we settled all the formalities of firing new receptionist, I handed her the check, which she grabbed out of my hand and tried to storm out of the building. However, by the time we finished, it was past 6:00 p.m., which is when the office closes and the front door automatically locks and requires an employee badge to unlock. As such, when new receptionist tried to open the door, it was locked. And when she tried to swipe her badge, the little red light just blinked because her badge was no longer active. The manager ended up having to swipe her badge to let new receptionist out, to which new receptionist mumbled thanks and left. Yikes. Jeez. I don't know what to say. Just bad move on the receptionist's part, man. Bad move. Also, good move on OP's part for, recognizing a bad, you get what I'm saying. Alright, this story's called "No Ma'am, I Am Not Impersonating Myself, I Am Definitely Me." The story of karma/revenge against a very angry woman in a chip store. Chip shop, sorry. Chip store. I don't know why that's so much funnier than a chip shop. It's the difference between a shop and a store is that shops, they make the stuff? Or am I just dummy? I think I'm dummy. I posted this in another sub, but was directed here as a cross post and thought you might enjoy this story too. This one takes place on a late afternoon shift, just before the dinner rush, so we had a manager and 2 servers, including myself. An important note for this story is that I used to have my hair dyed a bright blue color for a lot of my time working at the shop. but I'd recently dyed it back to natural brown as I was making uni applications, and it was generally seriously high maintenance when you had to wash it every day as the color ran out way too fast. So we're all going about our business, taking orders and getting ready for the dinner rush. This lady comes in with her kids. Now, she's a regular. Not a friendly regular, but we typically see her a few times a week. I take her order and my colleague starts making up her food. As I'm packing it up, she seems annoyed, so I ask if everything is okay with the order, as I'm concerned I've made a mistake and would rather rectify it then and there. She sighs and tells me that it's fine, but she misses having her hair taken by the girl with the blue hair, as she was much faster and politer than me, and asks me if she still worked there and what day she works. My service has not changed. I'm still doing my job the same as usual. The only difference is my dyed hair. I am also the only one with unnatural colored hair, so she is definitely talking about me. Now, as well as being able to tell from my face, as most of our hair is covered by a hat anyway, who I am. We also wear name tags. Our names come up on the register when we take orders, and they print on the receipts as a way of identifying who took an order in the event of a problem. So I say thank you so much for the compliment. That's actually me. I've just dyed my hair, but I appreciate the comments on my service this time and will try to improve. I've got another 7 hours left on this shift. I am super polite, as the last thing I want to do is for this woman to kick off right before the dinner rush when I'm still stuck here all night. She goes nuts, telling me that I am committing fraud, that she's gonna have me fired and possibly arrested, and even tried to rope my colleague in to admit I'm lying, at which point they slip out back to locate the manager who was cooking. Could I claim that I, with my terrible service, is the lovely girl who usually served her? Her kids are there also trying to insist I'm clearly the same person, but she just keeps pushing them out of the way and yelling that Mommy is handling this. I do not have the energy for this crap. I try apologizing. I even offer her a free drink for the inconvenience just to get her out of the store. She's not having it and asks for my manager. He's been standing at the back with my coworker, literally pissing himself with laughter at this woman for the last 2 minutes, but puts on his customer service face and comes over. She starts demanding that I'm fired. He just lets her rant for a while, then asks if she happens to have a receipt from a previous transaction with the girl she wanted to be served by. She pulls one out of her bag triumphantly, literally with a flourish, thinking she's got her way and proved me to be the scoundrel she thinks I am. It has my name at the top, clear as day. He points to my name tag and has her read out the name on the receipt and the name on the tag. She gets super flustered, but is way too far gone now to admit her mistake, starts claiming I've stolen someone else's tag and that she'll have me arrested for identity theft. My manager at that point is totally done and tells her to get out and don't come back without a better attitude. For the next 9 months I worked there, as we're the best/only fast food place in the local area, she stands outside sending her very embarrassed kids in twice a week so they can still get a takeaway. And of course, it's England in the winter. It rains a lot. What? Oh man, imagine being so hard-headed. Yoy. That's a really funny mistake though. Like, that could have become a nice friendship, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, remember like when I thought that you were a different person and I accused you of fraud? Oh, I'm so glad I stopped taking painkillers with my toothpaste. This story's called Dead End Shortcut. In the early 90s, I was working at a cab company in a small city. Names have been changed. Our terminal was located in the middle of the block with the lot running from the alley in the rear to the street out front. We had parking for cabs up front and along one side, with 2 lanes for cabs in service. We pulled onto the lot from the alley and always pulled forward onto the street. Cabs were dispatched out in the order they arrived at the lot. City ordinance was if weren't actively going to get or had passengers, we were not allowed on the street. Yes, my city is a bit odd in some aspects. It was a bit of a slow day. When I get to the lot, there are 3 cars already there. Just after I pull in and stop, a guy in a brand new caddy pulls in next to me, and he is on his cell phone. At this time, cell phones were fairly rare. Another driver pulls in behind me, and the shift manager pulled in behind the caddy and stopped. We had all gotten out of our cars and were chatting about various events. The manager, referred to as Bob, was still in his car watching the guy in the caddy. Just as soon as the Ken in the caddy got off the phone, he starts honking his horn and screaming to move the cabs out of his way. We looked at Bob and he just shakes his head no. The Ken is screaming worse now, telling us how important he is and that we were stopping him from getting to a meeting that involved $1 million project. We looked at Bob and he explained to Ken that it was a private lot and he should have paid attention to where he was going. The guy yelled at Bob that it's an alley. Bob told him that since when does an alley have a gas pump on it, and pointed to the pump we used to fill up after shift. The guy started yelling that he was gonna call the police and that he knew the chief. The owner of the company was a retired chief of detectives. Ken was told that he had acted reasonably, which he had not, that we would have moved our cabs out of his way, but since he wanted to be an ass, we gave him an attitude adjustment. My boss told him that since we leave the lot in the order we arrived, he would have to wait his turn. He grumpily said okay, not knowing what we were fairly sure would happen on a beautiful day, which was not much. By the time he found himself in a position to be able to leave, he had been waiting for 2.5 hours. He missed his meeting. Good. That guy's a jerk. Guys, there's so much that can be solved by just being polite. But there are other things that being polite will just get you in a deeper hole. So, you gotta know when to be polite and when to be a jerk. But most of the time, it's better to be polite. And if you don't know when you should be a jerk, you probably shouldn't be a jerk ever. Because, I mean, that can get you in way more trouble than being polite if you do it at the wrong time. Alright, this story's called I Have a Ticket, but I also participated in your training. This story happened pre-Brovid. I worked at an entertainment venue that brings in tens of thousands of people for events. There are multiple ticket options, from your standard ticket to premium and very premium options. I hold a senior level role that allows me to go into almost any area of the venue with my badge. Badges are color-coded and my badge is the rarest employee badge color. Ew! Some roles require badges to be displayed at all times. My role does not. Ew! But I do wear it sometimes and always show it to enter restricted areas when I'm working. I also do not wear a uniform. This guy's got it made! We do mass hiring to staff the venue, and when we do, we host training days where they have people in roles like mine come and talk to the new hires. I play a fairly large role in the training, so new hires see me several times, and my picture is in some of the materials. To be clear, I do not expect seasonal employees to remember me, but most recognize me, even if they don't know exactly who I am. I was attending an event as a guest, with a friend, not as an employee. I had my badge with me because the nature of my role means that I'm technically always working, but I was accessing the venue with my ticket, not badge. I had tickets to one of our higher level premium areas, and this happened not long after our mass hiring trainings. I entered my ticketed area using my ticket. To get to this area, I had to show my ticket to enter the venue, and then 2 more times to get into the specific area. I noticed an employee watching me and my friend. We were just standing and chatting, not doing anything extraordinary. The employee kept walking by slowly and occasionally would stop someone else to gesture towards me as they seemed to talk about me. They were staring in my direction, gesturing towards me, and talking to each other. Finally, the employee walked towards me and said, "I need to see your tickets." This is not how employees are trained to approach people they think are in the wrong area. I grab my ticket and extend it towards him. He rudely grabs it out of my hand, turns around and starts walking away. He gets a couple steps, stops, turns around and hands them back and then walks off while mumbling, "Thanks." Again, this is not at all how employees are trained to deal with this. this. I could have shown my badge and put a stop to the whole thing, but I wanted to see what was going to happen. Even though at this point he's verified my ticket, he continues to watch me, popping his head into our specific area, walking slowly by us while staring, etc. I couldn't figure out if he thought we didn't belong, fake tickets, or if he thought we would misbehave and damage the space. A little bit later, a manager and his reporting chain comes by and I point him out to her and let her know that I expect him to stop and he needs to be retrained. I guess she spoke to him because I did not see him again the rest of the night. He ended up being reassigned to a non-premium area, which is the same pay but is generally considered a demotion. Oh, snap! Ah, man, someone's gotta whip these kids into shape. Swear to God, this new generation, they think they're hot crap, don't they? Don't they, my man? Yeah, see, we older fellas, we get it. Alright, this story's called I Met You Earlier Because I Do Work Here. This was a couple of days ago when I was working at our state election issuing voting ballots. I can understand why this man thought I was a voter, but we met hours earlier prior to voting booth being open. My supervisor sent me off for a morning tea break, so I removed my smock and name tag to go enjoy some coffee. As I started walking back in, this other worker asked what electorate I was voting in. Which electorate are you voting? I met you earlier. Yes, what electorate are you voting? I work here. Just had my break and I'm coming back in. We met earlier. Oh my God, so sorry. He laughed. I told him it was okay and mentioned I took off my smock, so maybe that made it confusing. We had a good laugh about his mistake. At least our cheery attitudes for the rest of the day helped make the voters more relaxed. Edit, just to clarify, I apply to work every election, so the workers change from time to time. I work in the private sector for my usual job. That's such a cute story, and thank you for helping out with the voting. That's so... I don't know why I'm doing that voice. It's really nice, really cool, very nice. Vote. You should vote. Even though it's way too late to vote, you should still do it. I'm sure they'll appreciate the sentiment.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.